What is up, you guys? We're here for our weekly energy oracle forecast. Just taking a look at the week ahead to see what kind of energy we will be living and moving and having our being in. It's like our spiritual weather report. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, we have reflect. So not too surprising, we are in the thick of retrograde season. We are in a 3-week period known as Binha Matsurim. And that is the 3 weeks. These 3 weeks are the most challenging, potentially, of the year. And what is happening is there's a window, a cosmic opening in space and time, which is allowing a particularly potent quality of the creator's light to flow through into humanity, into the souls of humanity. And so that is putting pressure on the soul to evolve and to shed old negativity, old limitations, things that are holding the soul back. And so that could look like maybe a little bit of disruption or tests or challenges in our material waking world. So depending on thematically in your life, what maybe has challenged you, and maybe which relationships have challenged you, with whether it be with people or with substances or with money, things that your soul came here to work on, those tests will be amplified over the next 3 weeks. So you may notice, oh my gosh, why is the universe, it feels like everything's turned against us right now. Like the customers at work are particularly annoying lately. Just the flow of how things are happening, like any little thing. Take a moment to pause and think, okay, is this a test? Because if it is, this is a great opportunity for me to be able to reveal more light of my soul that I wouldn't have available to me in other parts of the year. The work that we do in taking these tests right now in this 3 weeks will yield exponential growth. So whereas in the rest of the year, we might face a similar challenge and navigate our way through it, and it might reveal a certain amount of light that can be redistributed into miracles or creative juice or blessings that are coming our way. However, when it's happening during this time of the year, under this particular quality of the light that's available, it's like the miracles grow like exponentially more, like the momentum that you can grab, the healing that's available, it all can go so much further. Like a metaphor of this is, I've noticed that if I have time at work, I'm a server, when I've cleared someone's courses and they're about to get their next course, if I have time before their food arrives to take a hot towel and just wipe the table, fresh, clean, get the crumbs out of the way, it's a small act, but it's like people have a disproportionate reaction of gratitude to that one small action. They end up tipping me like way bigger than like the usual. It's like that is the thing apparently that I've noticed every time will make people like so appreciative, like above and beyond, and then they'll actually like really tip you like noticeably more for, right? It's a small action. So too, in this moment, the effort that we make to really transform our soul and let go of our anger, forgive, look at things differently, try to break bad habits and create good ones. All of that is going to yield like disproportionately positive results. So it's really good to take advantage of this moment and not get caught up in the drama of the challenge and bemoan it, but like really embrace it and slow down and don't react. Just pause and see if you can observe yourself, your reflexes coming up. What does your reflex response want to do? What does the ego want to do? You know, and what do you know, like, you need to restrict in order to like pass that test? So another thing to point out is that once we leave this body and we go on the soul's journey in the afterlife, we have the tools that we acquired when we were in the body. So when we become an active player in the game here on earth and we start awakening the soul and revealing that light, that is giving us more power and capacity to navigate the afterlife as a soul. Once we leave this body, that's it. We don't have any more, like, we can't do the work. We have to do it in this material realm. This is the football field that we're in, is our incarnation in the body. Once we leave the body, we have the tools and the understanding and the wisdom that we gained while we were here, and that's what we have to navigate the afterlife with. So it would behoove us if we took our time on earth seriously. Now, when you're thinking like, what's my purpose in life? And then you consider that when you're like, oh, after this life, it's not just easy street. What if I have to like navigate challenges in the afterlife also? What if there are confusing situations and I need wisdom and I need understanding and I need insight and I need to know about these things and how it all works? Like, the more work you do here, the more easily you will adjust in the afterlife. But when you do the work to transform the soul, you're revealing everlasting, incorruptible light within yourself, right? That's why we say that the eternal things are what we should value. And what that means is that when you reveal certain wisdom and you heal certain parts of your soul, and you do transformation and evolve in this life and you evolve your soul, once you die and you're in the afterlife and you're in the infinity and the infinite realms, no one can take that from you. You can't have that growth taken away. That is part of you. You know that wisdom. You can have your body taken away. You can have your possessions taken away. You can have your credentials taken away and your accolades and your certifications, but no one can take your wisdom. No one can take your healing. No one can take the sparks of light that you've revealed once you've taken those layers of negativity off, right? So doing the work in this life while we can is the most valuable thing that we can do. That's the most valuable way we can spend our time. Doing acts of sharing is the most valuable way we can spend our time. Reading scripture and gospel and Torah and learning about God and learning about Christ consciousness and shaping ourselves to mold ourselves after that image. Those are things we should be spending our time on. Those are the things that matter. Those are the soul's purpose in this world. Everything else is, sort of like added on, right? We have our jobs, we have our career, we have our talents that we're supposed to share. And we can bring purpose to those things and use them for the sake of revealing the light of the Creator in the world. But ultimately, if we're not transforming our soul, all the good works that we do aren't really like, it's just performative. It's just good works. But when we die, all of our good works, it's like they might go on a resume and be remembered like, thank you for your deeds. But did you change yourself? Is your soul in the same condition it was when it left? Or did your soul elevate? Did you shed negativity? Did you shed your ignorance and reveal understanding? Did you become more compassionate and more caring? These are what we're reflecting on right now. These are the ideas and questions to reflect on. All right, what else? Ooh, anxiety. So the challenge this week might have to do with anxiety. Last week, we were looking at our fears around scarcity and our ability to share, even though we might feel anxiety around finances. For instance, we are to tithe 10%, and that is the way we restrict the body consciousness before we receive the sustenance. And so we give that 10% back so that it can be used for God's good works, right? And to be of service to God. Although if you are, it doesn't really matter what level of income you have, because you can have abundance or scarcity mindset at any income level. So if it's time to tithe and give up that 10%, and you're like, oh, I don't want to give this up. This feels like a lot. I don't feel like I can afford this. I feel like this is going to be financially irresponsible. And so then your fears cause you to hold on to that 10%. That 10% then pollutes the rest of your earnings, the rest of your sustenance, right? So we had to overcome last week our fears around sharing and around scarcity, and believe that the Creator, and be like certain that the Creator will provide, especially if we're using our resources and our means to share with others. If there's any time that we should put the Creator to the test, it is only when in situations of sharing, right? We're not supposed to take a risk with our life and be like, well, if I'm supposed to live, the Creator will protect me anyway. Or, be reckless with our money. Well, if I have a need, the Creator will be there to provide and catch me when I fall. Like, you're supposed to be a good steward of your money. You're supposed to be responsible with your money and your resources and your life and your health, right? But the one time where it's okay to be like a bit risky and, kind of be a bit reckless in that way, where you're kind of putting the Creator to the test, is when it comes to tithing and making offerings and sharing and giving to charity. So I think that this week will probably play off of that root in stirring up our anxieties, right? To me, every week has had like its own sort of flavor. And so you might be seeing like one particular theme come up one week, and then it changes the next week, and then the third week is a different theme. You might be seeing things run together through all 3 weeks, and you might be having different examples of things that you struggle with or that you're working on. Either way, I think we should just watch our anxiety this week and realize that that's the test. And it's such a sneaky test, because how accustomed are we to low-level anxiety? It's just like background noise. It's just like we're so used to it. But how much does that block our frequency? How much does that dull our power and our inner vitality and our ability to focus and have the willpower to be decisive and make bold decisions and own our decisions, and not be timid and passive and avoidant and frozen because we are afraid or indecisive, right? Afraid we'll make the wrong choice. Afraid, oh, if I go in this direction and it's wrong, what will happen? It's like you just course correct, right? You just change the plan, right? But we get so hung up and stuck in the anxiety that it keeps us frozen. Okay, ooh, here we go. Oh, growth. Okay, this is amazing. So it's like the anxiety is causing like a stunted growth. And so when we are able to remove that anxiety, almost like pulling weeds that are suffocating your healthy plants, then the plants have access to their nutrients. They have the space that they need. They're not being choked out by things that do not help, that do not add value, that do not push the needle forward. So big growth is coming this week. Even if we don't see it in the week, the way that we meet our anxiety and respond to life with more sovereignty and self-control is planting seeds that are going to yield big growth. Oh my gosh, you guys, what did I just say? The effort that we make this week is going to be the seeds that we plant that will yield major growth. Reward. And look, what is on each side of the reward? But personal growth. Personal growth in our right column tikkun and correcting our right column tikkun, and personal growth in correcting our left column tikkun. Our right column tikkun is about sharing and being in a virtuous state. We're sharing, we're not holding back from sharing, but we're not oversharing, right? You've known someone in your time when they don't have the ability to stand up for themselves, or to say no, or to take a strong stance because they might be coming from an innocent place, but they're over merciful. They don't have that ability to be the warrior in the left-hand column. So that's when virtues get out of balance, they become vices. And so when we are overly merciful, then we can be rode roughshod over, and that can leave room for tyrants and corruption to take over, right? So we have to balance that with social justice and with the column of judgment, but like practicing restriction and discipline and discernment, right? You can be generous and giving and sharing without overdoing it and causing bread of shame to the receiver or to the giver, right? Whereas the left-hand column, the left-hand tikkun is the tikkun of judgment. And so these people, or this correction is when you have a tendency to be selfish, or you have a hard time being sharing, or you might be overly critical or overly judgmental or overly strict or stern. And then when this is in balance, the left-hand column is about like that strong soldier who defends the kingdom and takes up for the weak, right? They defend the weak. But when that strength is out of balance, then it can become tyrannical and brutal and barbaric. When there's a complete lack of that strength and that dominance, then evil can run roughshod over good, right? So we need that balance. So I feel like there is definite growth happening, and we're bringing those sides of us into balance. We're bringing the side into the balance that can say no, that can set boundaries, that can stand firm in boundaries, that can be confident and stand up for good and fight for justice in the world, and also be understanding and inclusive and accepting and forgiving and gentle and kind as well, and generous. So it's just about finding that balance between the two. We're reflecting on what is out of balance, and we are facing our anxiety, and we're getting to the root of what is actually adding to this anxiety. What is underneath the anxiety? Is this a deep-rooted fear? Is this a behavior that I am doing that's adding to the anxiety? Like, are we overspending and it's adding financial stress? Are we being too lenient with someone and saying yes when we should be saying no, and then that's adding more anxiety? Are we overcommitting ourselves? Are we under showing up? And then that's giving us anxiety. When I neglect my dreams, or even before I was really clear on what I wanted to do in this world and where I would direct my talents and my interests, I was so overwhelmed with all of this creativity coming through and excitement and love for like making things. I didn't know where to put my talent. And it was because I wasn't taking action. I had this weight of anxiety that time was running out. And I had this anxiety of overwhelm, of not knowing which thing to pick or what to put my focus and energy into. And so that, like, the lack of action was giving me anxiety. So a lot of times if you're overwhelmed, then just taking like reasonable, informed action towards something starts to alleviate the anxiety, right? Have you ever had, like, I don't know, a legal problem pending out in front of you, or like a medical issue, and then you had to, like, I don't know, jump through a bunch of hoops and navigate a bunch of things and like documents that have dry language that's overwhelming, and it's like you feel so much anxiety and like you could have an anxiety attack. But if you can just start taking one step at a time, that's something that's doable, that's manageable for you, that take a bite that you can chew, right? Get that taken care of, and then you feel less overwhelm and you feel more clarity, and then you can move on to another task and chip that away. And little by little, it just, things become easier to manage and unpack and approach. All right, y'all, that is all for tonight. So this week we're still really reflecting, and we're watching our patterns and our reflexes come up. We are appreciating moments of challenge and testing, because that's really where the juice is. That's where all the blessings are. As we navigate these challenges, we are growing. And as we solidify this growth and embody this growth, it's like not just the wisdom, but we start to change the way that we behave and show up in the world. True rewards will result in that. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good week. I hope that y'all have a nice week ahead. Hope we have lots of growth and realizations and revelation. And I hope that blessings are just going to start pouring in. Until tomorrow, peace, y'all. We will be back together for our weekly anchor message, where we get our spiritual lessons and assignments for the week.